This is Christmas Day. We have had a lovely family gathering with a delicious dinner. Whom do we have here? George, dear Phyllis, Lillian Darcy, Kieran, and of course myself. You're hearing my voice. So I thought today I would begin with a Christmas lullaby. My husband, whom you know was a clergyman, used this little Christmas lullaby on his bulletin many times. Oh, sleep thee, little baby dear, and shut thine eyes in dreaming. The whitened fir trees laugh and sing, and dancing stars are gleaming. Oh, rest thee, little baby dear, while angels guard thy sleeping, and tender flocks on quiet hills are safe in shepherd's keeping. Oh, hush thee, little baby dear, the gentle chimes are ringing, while mother dreams of Mary's love that sacred throngs are singing. Oh, sleep thee, little baby dear, the holy night is falling, and may my lamb forever hear the sovereign shepherd calling. This Christmas lullaby not only appeared on my husband's bulletin, but also on the bulletin of Reverend John Versteeg of Zanesville, Ohio. It was my pleasure, shortly after Woodrow Wilson's death, to write a poem dedicated to him, which appeared in the New York Christian Advocate. The poem is Prophets, dedicated to Woodrow Wilson. God-chosen prophets, destined to his call. Like sentinels, they guard each newborn age. With faith firm fixed, they conquer wrath's fierce rage, and suffer scoff and scorn from great and small. But when their day is done, strong nations fall before their shrines and count them heritage. And in the burning light of history's page, they stand like mountain peaks that tower tall. Thou too hast known, O prophet of the day, the bitter blasts of hate and enmity, but thou didst falter not to blaze the way for worldwide peace to all posterity. Thy strength is spent. Look not for mortal pay. 'Tis left for unborn day to honor thee. The Young People's Association of Young Women of the Newark Conference asked me to write a daily prayer. The girls in the Methodist Church across the United States use this daily prayer card, and I received a letter from a clergyman in Florida saying that he kept it on his desk. And word came to me through one of the ministers of our conference that this daily prayer was found by a girl in Czechoslovakia and used. How she got it, how it came to her, we know not. But she used this daily prayer. O God of beauty, to each heart a sense of loveliness impart. Help us to see in sky and land the wonders of thy gracious hand, with those who in some darkened place have failed to see thy lovely face. Help us the way of life to share, that they too may know thy loving care. The Presbyterian Church, in their primary book of hymns, has used this poem of mine, a winter hymn of praise. For the silence of the snow in the deep and darkened wood, for the fir tree bending low, and the wild bird seeking food. Maker of the winter days, hear our song of thankful praise. For the quiet city street, with its blanket soft and white, for the homeward trudging feet in the glow of fireside light. Maker of the winter days, hear our song of thankful praise. For the gentle chimes that ring from the church's frosty tower, for the joyful choirs that sing of the Savior's love and power. Maker of the winter days, hear our song of thankful praise. These words of mine were set to music by a professor of music at Montclair State Teachers College. I had the honor and the privilege of writing the hymn which is used by the ministers' wives of Northern New Jersey Conference, and they sing this at their annual meeting. Sometimes we dream of lands with templed walls and canvases on which a stained light falls. But love demands our best. We cannot roam. Our task it is to light the fires of home. We hear them tell of lands beyond the sea, where God called men for Christianity. We dare not go, but strangers with their need knock at our door for love that knows no creed. Each newborn age owns men of master mind, whose lofty thoughts and words move all mankind. We would but know the quiet word with thee, to whom in prayer we lift humanity. With songs of praise for other years we turn to tasks anew that challenge us, and years for faith and courage equal to Christ's plan of love and lasting peace for worldwide man. When George was a very young boy, when we lived in Rahway, New Jersey, he came home very excited one noon for luncheon to tell me that you, Mother, have a book in the Rahway Library. I was a little surprised and wondered just about it, but Miss Peters, the librarian, had told him of the book. It's a volume of books of verse by New Jersey club women. And in that book, they had selected a couple of my poems. One, My Lilac. Beside our quaint old portico, my lilac grew long years ago. Beneath my lilac's blooming boughs, I chose to take my wedding vows. She looked in within the window wide and smiled upon my newborn child. Behind a veil of purple grace, my lilac ofttimes hid her face and gently laughed while children played beneath her fragrant, sun-flecked shade. This lilac saw my family grow and knew our hopes, our joy, our woe. When death stalked in an upper room, my lilac soothed with sweet perfume. Her charm and quiet dignity through growing years have wrought on me. I would not know in life's late years the cynic's heart with bitter tears, but like my lilac, age shall bring the glad triumphant hope of spring. And one more in this book. It's called The Circuit Rider. We know through our historical records of the ministers, largely from England, who traveled through the wilderness of the West, the far West, taking religion with them, and they were known as the Circuit Riders. Today there is an outstanding, beautiful monument on the campus of Drew University of the Circuit Rider, Asbury, Francis Asbury. This little poem, this little sonnet is called Circuit Riders. Untrumpeted by history's loud fame, the finer forces carved on their noble deed on hearts of men. No thought of gold or greed had they, but with their rugged souls aflame for God, they rode and conquered in his name. With neither axe nor rifle did they lead the wooded way, but with saddlebag and creed of light and love, they staked for God a claim. O cavalier apostle, thou couldst see beyond the lofty ranges in the plain that vast, eternal march of history toward setting sun. Thy work was not in vain. New England's sturdy line, inspired by thee, moved westward in that God-directed train. Just one more. The month of March has always been a very interesting month to me because of the changes in the month, so much like our lives, with a little storm, some high wind, and yet beauty, sunlight. That is the month of March. Sing of spring on sunlit hills. Sing of squills and daffodils. Sing, March wind, sing. Laugh, March wind, laugh. Winter wakes to life again, bathes her brow in ice and rain. Laugh, March wind, laugh. Chant, March winds, chant. Chant a song of winter's dying. Cease your weary wail and whining. Chant, March winds, chant. A number of years ago, my uncle surprised me one day by coming to my home with an old brass kettle. That had been his mother's pickle kettle, and he wanted me to have it. Of course, I was delighted to have it. And it always looked well before whatever fireplace I had, but it got dark and not so attractive looking as it was in the beginning. But my two grandchildren, Lillian Darcy and Kieran, worked very hard to polish that kettle. And they made a wonderful job of it, because today it looks very attractive, and I'm sure they're going to be willing to polish it again someday when it darkens. So impressed was I with the fact that my uncle, by the way, the kettle was his mother's and my grandmother's pickle kettle. So impressed was I that I wrote this little poem to Grandmother J.B. Her name was Jane Banks. And by the way, Kieran, who helped polish my kettle, is Kieran Banks Vogel. May I return to the poem? To Grandmother J.B. The fire is bright, and I rest in the settle, with my thoughts going back to the old brass kettle. It sits on the hearth and holds cannel coal, though in years that are gone, this was its role, to make fine preserves and pickles and jam and cook Sunday chickens or corn and sweet ham. Now, gone is a kitchen and grandmother too. But the kettle she charmed is left to my view. I lovingly gaze at it, dreaming the while of grandmother's kindness, her song, and her smile. You stately old kettle, etched on with J and with B, snugly rest by the fire in your longevity. But keep her sweet spirit aflame in my heart, that the glow of her life I may live to impart. I think this is enough for this evening, and I appreciate the privilege of recording a few of the little poems that I have written in the past.
Thank you. Very good.